I'm Jason Liggett. Joining me this afternoon is Managing Director of the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District, Karl Gnadt. Karl, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Let's go back several weeks ago as the coronavirus continued to spread throughout the state of Illinois. We saw the U of I move classes online, non-essential businesses close, and the governor's shelter-in-place order go into effect. What was the initial reaction from the MTD?
Yeah, interestingly, at the time that those announcements were starting to be made, we had already started to respond. We saw what was happening in other places around the world and decided early on, mid-February even, to start increasing and enhancing our cleaning and disinfecting of our vehicles and public spaces in our buildings. So as these announcements started to come out, then we were positioned to respond very quickly to even additional actions. But we feel like we got on the stick pretty quickly, even before the university made those announcements, or the governor, certainly long before the governor made an announcement.
And I want to stress today that the MTD is considered an essential business, and you are still operating and buses are still running. What sort of changes have been made to route schedules?
Yeah, that's correct. We are still operating. We are operating under a reduced service level. So when things are normal, we have a U of I service level and we have a non-U of I service level. And so we went into spring break and went into our normal non-U of I service level. And then the U of I said, okay, students aren't going to be coming back from spring break. And so at that point, we just stayed in the non-U of I service level. That's about a 30% reduction from our full service level that we provide when the U of I is in session. So that's where we are today. We're still at that level. That is creating a lot of opportunity to have operators that would normally be driving at this time of year, but there aren't routes for them to drive. So we've been able to reposition them and do extra training and put them into other job assignments that they wouldn't normally be doing. And that's one of the ways that we're staying on top of things and keeping our facilities disinfected and cleaner than they ever have been before. And we're known for having clean buses and clean facilities, but they're really spotless now. So that's been good. Our ridership is significantly down, but we're in kind of a weird space where we are actually communicating to our passengers: don't ride. Don't use public transit unless you absolutely have to complete your essential trips. If you need to go to the grocery store to work or to buy groceries, you need to go to a medical clinic to work or to have an appointment, by all means, use public transit if that's your mode of mobility. But for just discretionary trips and to move around, we're asking people to not do that. So it's not something that I ever thought that we would be doing, which is advertising and communicating to our passengers, please don't ride. But that's where we are today.
And how have the passengers responded to that?
The good news and bad news is they've been responding very well to that. So our ridership is down about 85%. And that is a significant drop. That means that we're carrying about 6,500 to 7,000 passengers a day. So that is a much, much, much smaller number than we normally carry. But the really important thing to note about that is that's still thousands of people that need to get to work or need to get to medical appointments or food pantries or grocery stores to get those essential items or do those essential things. So it's really important that we're there for that small group. I just want to mention real quick, if I can. So it's a much smaller group. We really are promoting social distancing on the vehicles, and we're doing that in several ways. Number one, by communicating to passengers, don't ride if you don't need to. Number two, we are no longer enforcing our fare collection. And so we're discouraging interaction between operators and passengers, and we are doing rear door boarding. So that allows operators and passengers to remain an appropriate social distance apart from one another. And again, we're cleaning those vehicles when they come into Illinois Terminal or Lincoln Square, Round Barn, our main transfer areas, and other locations. We have a pit crew of operators that will run on the bus, wipe everything down, disinfect it, and then get off so the bus can go back on service. It's a bit like the Indy 500 pit crew. Our employees have been great in the way that they've responded to these extra duties. I think they appreciate the fact that they're still getting paid, but they've had a great attitude about it, and really have chipped in to make that work.
There are stimulus checks being issued by the federal government for individuals, as well as business loans from the Small Business Association. What sort of financial impact does this have on the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District?
Yeah, so the financial impact is what we are most concerned about. And unfortunately, we have very, very few answers as to what those financial impacts will be. We are recipients of some of the recovery funds from the CARES Act, and we are in the process of putting in our application for those federal funds right now. And that's great. That will help us to get through this immediate period of time. What we're very concerned about is that a majority of our funding comes from state revenue sources, and those state revenue sources are state sales tax generated. And as you and everybody else knows, there really isn't much sales tax being generated right now. So we think it's quite likely that the state will not be able to meet its obligations in the next fiscal year and beyond. And that is going to be a significant financial impact to us, but we don't know to what degree. So we're very hopeful, and talking to legislators, promoting a CARES Act 2 that would have some state and local stimulus recovery money in it, because nationwide everybody is being hit by this sales tax revenue decimation.
Has the MTD had any discussions about any long-term changes in policies to create a more health-conscious atmosphere?
We are just now starting to have conversations about the plan that we'll implement when we're starting to come out of the active COVID response. And so, yes, we're having a lot of conversations about that. I can't say that we've made a lot of decisions yet, because we don't know about timing and we don't know what some of those variables will be. I think it's safe to say that our passengers, the community, will be able to see that we will continue to have a heightened disinfecting and cleaning regiment that we're employing on all of our vehicles and at our facilities. And we have, we've installed hand sanitizer dispensers in all of our facilities. That's something that we're pursuing to see if we can install those on our vehicles as well. We have handed hand sanitizers out to all of our operators, all of our employees, in fact, but trying to figure out if there's an equitable way to make that available to passengers as well. So those are the things that we're kind of looking into, but we don't have that plan set in stone yet.
Karl Gnadt, Managing Director of the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District, I appreciate you sharing your time with us this afternoon.
Thank you. Stay well.
For more information on the MTD, you can visit their website at mtd.org or follow them on social media.